Hello, and welcome to another Saturday food support group. We have these Zoom meetings every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I just invite people to come and to share their stories because I've had so many people reach out to me in private messages and tell me their stories. And I just couldn't keep it for myself. I had to share with you all of the beautiful things that are happening when people break their addiction to sugar and carbs and processed food. And they get their brains back, they get their bodies back, they get their lives back. And they're just so excited that they can't wait to tell. And so I informed everyone that I would be recording these meetings, and I encouraged them that if they wanted to remain anonymous, that they can turn the camera off. But a lot of people they want to share. They want to share what has happened to them, and they're so excited about their new life. And then I also open it up for questions. If people are still struggling and they're still on this journey, that they can come and ask questions. But if you need more individualized care than just in a group like this, feel free to email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com, and I'll walk you through what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoy the group. Hello, happy Saturday. We have another Saturday food support group. We just get together every Saturday and we talk about our victories and our struggles with food. Sometimes we bring our problems to the group and we troubleshoot them together. And sometimes we have people come and bring, we have people come and bring their victories and how this way of eating has changed their life. So today we have a special guest, Serena.carnivore on Instagram. So that's Serena, SERENA.carnivore on Instagram. Serena, tell us your story. You're muted.
Got it. Little frantic, just left the farmer's market selling some tallow lotions and got in a rush there at the end, but everything's packed up and I'm in my driveway, so I'm doing good.
How fun.
Yeah. So the reason I actually started carnivore was because I have this weird post-COVID issue that some of you have probably heard about. It is called Parosmia, and it is a distorted sense of taste and smell. So it's not just that you lose your sense of taste and smell, which I did for about 3 months. I had COVID in December of 2020, and things were like, I could smell and taste quite a few things, but everything was really muted in March of last year. So 3 months later, and I woke up one day and came downstairs and I was like, what is that horrible smell? My husband's like, nothing. I just made some coffee. I was like, what? Like you can't even imagine what that feels. Cause I was like, well, that's not coffee I'm smelling. And he goes, no, it is my coffee. I'm gonna take out this earring. I think it's clanging.
You're fine.
And I was like, that is not coffee. And he goes, no, it is. I just made my coffee. I'm like walking around the house trying to figure out what this is. And that was the only thing that really smelled bad at first. And I was not a carnivore, at the time. So my daughter asked to stop at Arby's and get some fries. After we roller skate every Wednesday, we homeschool, and that's one of the things we do. And so instinctively, I'm driving a little stick shift, like our extra family car. And I reach over and grab one and put it in my mouth. And the smell and taste that was coming from that, it was like a rotten skunk carcass that somebody had lit on fire. So I'm driving this little stick shift, trying to get on the interstate, and I think I'm going to throw up. Eventually, I figured out how to get the window down while accelerating on the ramp and get that out of my mouth. It was it was awful. And so it kind of progressed from there, and many things, it got worse and worse. And so within about a week, I was basically living on sugar because it was the only thing that tasted good. And the depression that follows something like that is like, you can't even explain what it's like, that anywhere you go, you're smelling this smell. So restaurants, my son's graduation, we go out to eat and I get a salad because I think, that might be okay. And even the lettuce smelled and tasted rotten. Like everything, just about everything except for sugar, tasted and smelled rotten. And it was just it was a bad experience. And
it sounds like a nightmare.
It is. So you have to picture like that skunk smell following you everywhere you go, and you can't get away from it. So there were days that I would literally be in bed with like one of those heated up rice packs, that you can put in the microwave, on my stomach, and a diffuser with essential oils in it, on my chest. Like,
baby.
just like I would be in bed for 6 or 8 hours that day. I mean, it was just, we would go skating, and I could tell every time they dropped the fries into the oil, and I would have to wear a little sweater, and I have to put it up over my face so I couldn't smell it. I would put, like oils on me. I brought these little silicone rings that I could put, it almost looked like a nose ring, and you could put like essential oils or something on that so that you'd be smelling that instead. I mean, it was definitely difficult, but again, the only thing I wanted was sugar. So my birthday is May 22nd. So this was a little bit over 2 months after this started. My girls are 13 and 15, and they have a gluten-free baking business. They make wonderful things that I don't eat anymore. And they asked if I wanted cupcakes because they know how I feel about them. It's the best thing ever. So I said, yes, double the recipe. That's what kind of day it was. And so they made, and I kept trying things, trying to find something that I could eat. And then I decided that's just not going to work. I can't, because that throws me into this spiral of depression and crying every day because I can't eat the things. Yeah, just like this spiral. So I was eating lots of artificially sweet things to try to avoid some of the sugar. So lots of artificially sweet yogurts and, and things like that. But everything was sweet because it was the only thing that tasted good. It had to be sweet. So for my birthday, they doubled the recipe, and my birthday was on a Saturday, and I ate 20 cupcakes in 36 hours.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? It was the only thing, but that's what kind of a carbohydrate and junk addict that I was, a sugar and carbohydrate addict, that I could eat that many cupcakes and didn't even feel sick. So Monday morning I woke up, my husband and I went running, and I remember laying on our back porch, getting some sun and saying, okay, that's it. I'm not going to eat sugar anymore. So if I can't eat vegetables and I can't eat fruits and I'm not going to eat sugar, what does that leave me? And there were literally like 3 things. I could eat a steak fresh off the grill with no seasoning, but I couldn't refrigerate it and rewarm it. Same thing with a hamburger. I couldn't even be in the same room as chicken for months and months. It was so awful. And the other thing that I could eat was, I can't even remember now. I couldn't eat cheeses, like any kind of cheese tasted and smelled rotten. But there were like 3 things. Maybe I was able to eat like some turkey deli meat or something. I can't even remember what the third thing was now, but it had to be fresh. So I was having to cook every day. I couldn't refrigerate the meat and then heat it back up. And so I just started doing research that day. Like, what am I? What does this make me? And that's how I found carnivore. Like, if I'm only going to eat meat, what is this? Because it's not keto. So what is this? And so that's how I found it. And I started immediately that day. I didn't have any like withdrawals or anything like that, thank goodness. But God knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And as much as I have hated to have this happen to me, I know that it saved me. And that's where the real story really starts, is that I've been on a diet since I was 13. I thought it was normal to always need to lose that last 5 or 10 pounds, or want to lose that last 5 or 10 pounds. The cupcake thing was a small snippet of, so I had an eating disorder. I was bulimic for, I'm 49, so probably 20 years.
Wow.
I was bulimic. That part stopped. The purging part stopped a while ago, like years ago, but the binging didn't. And so I would binge, and then I would restrict, I would punish myself for the binging. I have been preoccupied with my food and what I'm going to eat and my diet my entire adult life. And really, if I started when I was 12, I remember like being in high school, and me and my best friend would not eat all day long so that after school we could go get one of those Entenmann's fat-free cakes and just eat the whole thing. It's always been sweets, and it's always been a lot. So after my 21-year-old daughter was born and I had lost all of my weight, I would go to Krispy Kreme donuts on the way to the gym and eat all 13 donuts between there and the gym, like a 5-minute drive. Like, I had a problem.
Yeah.
And I joked about it and made it like, I just love sugar so much. I didn't look at the seriousness of it and how it was impacting my life, like, at all. I would go to Sam's to go shopping and buy my favorite kind of sweet, chocolatey popcorn. I'd get 2 of those giant, I mean, we're talking, the giant bags,
Yeah.
and I'd eat one while I was shopping. I'd eat it on the way home, and then I would hide it when I got home and take up the full bag, and I'd share it with everybody. And then later, when nobody was paying attention, I would come down and get the other bag and bring it upstairs. I was hiding this. I was shackled and chained for 35, 36 years of my life to what foods am I going to eat? How am I going to get rid of it if I eat too much?
How am I going to punish myself?
How am I going to punish myself if I eat this? For all those years, I was shackled and chained, and God knew what he was doing when he gave me parosmia. And as much of a curse as it has been for me, it saved me because I no longer feel that way about food. I get emotional every day. This is not just because I'm talking about it. I get emotional just a little bit. I tear up every day because I wish I had known sooner.
You're so grateful.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for stupid COVID that I hate with a passion and parosmia that I hate with a passion. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it definitely could be a lot better than it is. I do still have issues with certain things. So that problem isn't gone, but the fact that it fixed that part for me, like it fixed my heart, I feel so strongly, for the people that are still going through this. And, I mean, the idea that beef saved me, all of you guys saved me. Emily Penton and Kelly Hogan and Laura Spath and Dr. Chafee and Dr. Baker and Dr. Barry. And I mean, so many people saved me by sharing their stories. And it took me a long time to decide that I was going to really go for it. And I was going to share and I was going to tell people. But hearing everybody else do it really encouraged me to know that it's okay. I'm broken. We're all broken. We're all, I was gluttonous. I was a pig when it came to sugar and carbohydrates. And now I'm not like that about anything, but it wasn't always just sugar either. I even had a problem with sauteed kale and coconut oil. When I made sauteed, I would pick at it while it was cooking. And sometimes I had to make a whole nother bag because I had eaten most of what was supposed to go with dinner. And then I would be sick for 2 days from, eating that much of it. I think it was the fat and the salt, or it was the sugar, you know what I mean? And so I don't have that problem anymore at all. I just, I share now because I think other people that do the things that I was doing that feel, you feel when you have an eating disorder or disordered eating, you feel like you're in control if you can control that thing. So for me, if I could eat all of that and then get rid of it, or eat all of that and then not eat for 3 days to punish myself, I was controlling that.
Ooh.
But that's not true. It was actually controlling me.
Such deception.
It is. I was deceiving myself for years and years. And I have 4 amazing, beautiful children. All the girls have birthdays in the next 2 months. So they will be 14, 16. He just turned 20 and our oldest will be 22. And I am just now being the good influence on them, or, the good role model for them with my food. And they're not carnivores. But I hid what I was doing. We didn't even talk about weight in our house. We always talked about being healthy because my sister was also, had terrible eating disorders. She was anorexic and then she became bulimic and she almost died a couple of times from it. And even that didn't stop me from doing these terrible things, the same things. But carnivore did, and that carnivore zen doesn't happen right away. Takes a little while. You got to be fat adapted. You got to really be at peace with it. And when the carnivore zen hits, I don't know, I think it was long for me. It was about 8 months because I was gaining weight, and you just can't really have that zen when you're kind of stressed because every time you get on the scale, it goes up and up and up. And I'm not one of those people that says necessarily throw away your scale. When people ask me, I say, the scale is just a number, but it is a way to gauge. And if you're not gauging things, how do you know what to tweak if it's not working? And everybody said to me, throw away the scale, throw away the scale. Don't count calories. Don't count anything. Just eat when hungry until full. And for 8 months, I did that and gained 18 pounds. So I didn't have the Zen until after that. I didn't have the energy I was supposed to have. I kept hearing about this energy and the mental state. And I didn't really get that until I started eating more.
So you weren't eating enough.
I wasn't eating enough. I was fasting like 3 full days a week, like 36-hour fast, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I would eat Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, but just one meal. And I thought it was a big meal. But later when I came from a history of under eating and not knowing when I'm hungry and not knowing when I'm full. So that kind of advice is the wrong advice for somebody who comes from restricted eating for years and years and years, because you get hungry really soon, like too soon. So I was eating like 4, 6, 8 ounces of meat a day and stopping because I was full at that moment. And I thought, well, I'm only supposed to eat once a day and I'm supposed to fast tomorrow. And I kept gaining weight like that. And
you
when
were
I
just
started
throwing
eating,
your system into disorder,
panic, total crisis. My body thought there was a famine coming,
Oh my gosh.
and my hormones were off. I think I restricted so much that I messed up my hormones. And so now I'm doing much better. The doctor put me on some progesterone because my progesterone tanked, I think, from the way I was eating. So it's really important to make sure that you're eating enough. Most women have a huge hard time with this, but men too sometimes. It's really important to make sure you're eating enough. And so I started eating more. The doctor put me on some progesterone. It was too much. And I gained another 10 pounds in a month. So now I was up 28 pounds. For somebody who comes from the history that I come from and who's 5 feet 3 inches tall, that is a lot of weight. We're talking 2 clothing sizes.
I'm so glad you stuck with this.
It was, I think that mentally I knew it was saving me. Does that make sense? Like, even though I was gaining weight, I think in my heart, I knew this was the answer. This was the answer. It was taking all of the guesswork out of my food. It was taking all of the anxiety out of I had so much anxiety for all of those years. When we were going to a family gathering, I would bring myself like a little tiny frozen meal because I had to know how much I was eating and how many calories I was eating. I did Weight Watchers for years off and on. I gained 80 pounds with my first child, 60, 40, 30. I gained, 60, 50, 40. So the least I ever gained was 40 and lost it all. But in my 40s, that kind of changed a little bit. It was harder for me to get off the weight. But I think in my heart, I knew this was the answer. And that's why I stuck with it. I think I was seeing the simplicity and I believed people. I believed you when you told me, or when I watched one of your videos that said how healthy this was. I believed you. I believed Kelly Hogan. I believed Laura Spath. And I think that was the key, was believing that this can work for me. And the fact that my mental state is so much different now is just, I never thought I would feel this way. I never thought that I would be looking forward to, I probably hadn't eaten red meat in a year when I started carnivore because it's bad for me. It has too many points, too many calories, too much fat. I don't know if you've seen my before and after inflammation picture. It's pinned on my Instagram page, but like my face was like this big and I was juicing multiple times a week. I was doing juice fast. I was eating. Look, people have told me that that's not even me. People have said that's not even you in the other picture, but it is. Like, and look at my eyes.
Your nose even looks different. Yeah. And your eyes are like a different color.
Yes. Like when I realized that, I was like, oh my goodness, like I didn't see it until I saw that picture. I was shocked. That is just inflammation. I actually weigh more in the after picture than I did in the before picture.
Wow.
It's because carnivore is different, So when I finally realized that this was working, and I started eating more and I started losing that weight, like my husband even told me the other day that I act more confident, that I seem more confident.
Wow.
And the last month has made a big difference. So I lost that first 10 pounds, in a month, that weight that I had gained. Yeah. I thought it would come off really quickly when I stopped the progesterone, but it didn't. It was real weight. I thought, oh, most of this is water. It was not. It was actual weight. So it came off in about a month. And in the last month, I've lost about another 9 pounds. So that's 19 pounds in 2 months.
That's a big deal.
And I know. And it feels really good. Like the other day, I pulled a pair of jeans out that I've never worn that I bought a couple of years ago that I thought were my size, and then they weren't. And I just kept them. Like, I just didn't want to deal with taking them back. And I put those on the other day. I was like, I can wear these. And today I'm wearing a pair of jeans I couldn't wear a month ago. So, you know, those are just added bonuses compared to what's going on in here now.
Yes.
And I think I've learned that so much of what takes place is up here. And to heal me, to fix me, it had to happen up here. So it's not just the weight.
And that's why I think kept you here, you know?
Yes.
Like, even though the weight was doing its craziness, you had that knowing, you know? And I love your story. I love what you say, because it reminds me of something that my husband says all the time. And I used to get so mad at him because I thought I was this good little girl, that I was being so positive. And I was like, God uses bad things for good to happen. And he said, actually, it's all good. And I was like, what? And he was like, if you think about it, everything that happens is good. And I was just like, oh, I was like, gosh, you're just so, you know, amazing. But, you know, that you said that this was this horrible thing that happened to you, but you still cry every day because you're so grateful that it happened to you. Yes. And we are these really stubborn beings that need really huge, horrible things to happen to us for us to change our behavior. And so if it was something tiny, I don't think you would have made this change.
No. And I actually did. I went to a muscle response testing doctor. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah. Muscle response testing, you know, where they put like the energy of the things on you and try to push your arm down. It's amazing. If you guys don't know what that is, look up muscle response testing or nutrition training. You can call it either thing. Super cool. But I was going to him, to a special doctor here where I live about 5 years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago. I had gained weight. I couldn't get it off no matter what I did. And he helped me through supplements and, you know, vitamins and things like that to kind of fix it. He calls it like the layers of an onion have to peel off to heal your body so you can fix these things with the supplements that he's giving you. And he put me on an extremely low carb diet at the time. And because I'm like an all or nothing kind of person, which is why I had to eat 20 cupcakes instead of just one. That's the difference between a moderator and an abstainer. It's an all or nothing kind of thing, really. And so because he put me on a low carb diet, I was basically doing carnivore for 8 months and I didn't know it. And so looking back on that now, I didn't lose weight then either. And it makes me wonder, was I not eating enough? And I know that this is a problem for me because it has happened over the years. I am a chronic undereater when I'm not overeating, of course. Yes. But I remember dealing with this then and not being able to lose the weight and not knowing why. And I remember talking about, am I eating enough or am I eating too much? And then at some point you have to see how much you're eating and you have to say, I'm either in starvation mode, which I know some people say isn't real, but I totally believe it's a real thing. And maybe it's not actually starvation mode, but it's a crisis mode for your body. So am I in starvation mode or am I in maintenance mode? And there's no way I'm in maintenance mode at 900 or 1,000 calories a day. Nobody's in maintenance mode at 1,000 calories a day. So at some point you do have to sit down. And that's what helped me was I finally, after 8 months, I think it was Katie Kelly, a little bit of fit. I think it was something she posted. And I was like, I'm just going to track my calories for a week and see. And that's when I realized I was eating 5,000 or 6,000 calories in an entire week. Most weeks. So I started eating more and the scale started to move a little bit. And then I had the whole issue with my hormones and it went up. But now I eat more and now it's working. You know, hormones do make a difference. You know, all of those things do make a difference for us. And so I feel great now and I am totally at peace.
I just did the math. 6,000 calories in 1 week is 857 calories a day.
Yeah. So there was an average there. Some days it was probably a little more.
Yeah, because of fasting. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would eat like 2 hamburger patties with a little bit of cheese on them and then I would be done. Like that's a decent meal if you're going to eat that 3 or 4 times a day, but not if you're going to, but that was all my stomach was hold because I was so used to under eating. And because the fat and the meat kept me full because I wasn't used to eating the fat and the meats. And so it kept me really full. And so I would sit down with that 800 calorie meal or 900 calorie meal and eat it. I would be stuffed. Yeah. And then I would say, okay, well, this should hold me. I'm going to do my fast tomorrow. I would eat it at like 2:00 in the afternoon, my fast tomorrow. And then I'll eat again at, like lunchtime the next day. And I did that routinely for several months, all the fasting and the one small meals. And I didn't know that it was backfiring on me. Like there weren't many people saying, so that's kind of my mission is like, as soon as
Eat
somebody
more.
says they can't lose, I say, have you
Eat
tracked to see
more.
how much you're eating? Yeah.
Yeah, because like
Because,
for a point of reference, I eat 2,000 calories a day.
right, right. And you're thin and you're happy and you're healthy. And so that was the other thing was I didn't really have the energy either. I kept waiting for like that energy to kick in. Well, duh. I was because I wasn't eating enough. Like I'm not
Your
eating
body
enough.
was in crisis mode.
It
Well,
was always.
what I really also want you to tell us about real quick is your new endeavor that you are doing with Jesselyn, the Carnivore Revolution. So please tell me about the Carnivore Revolution and what your vision is for that.
Okay, I'm wearing my apron because I was wearing this
Oh,
at the farmer's market. So Jess and I, we did one of her Beyond the Meat things.
Yes.
One of her series episodes.
And she's Jesselyn.Randall.
That's right.
On Instagram. Go ahead.
Yes, very quickly became one of my favorite people in the whole world. I just love her to pieces.
She's amazing.
She is. So we did a Beyond the Meat episode. I was like maybe her third or fourth episode person. And as soon as we were done, she sent me a message and said, that was so much fun. Let's do something else together. And so like the next day we spent 2.5 hours talking to each other face to face on Instagram, in a video call, and came up with the Carnivore. We didn't have the name. It took us a while to come up with the name, but we knew we wanted to do like a cooking channel. Nobody's really doing that. And we've had a great time with it. And about a week and a half, maybe we were throwing ideas around back and forth. We came up with the Carnivore Revolution, and we're hoping it becomes a household name. We are having so much fun with it. We did a live cooking video with Dr. Chafee recently, grilling some steaks, and we did a chicken skins video with Karen and Jackie, and that was super fun. And so, we're looking for people to cook with. And Dr. Kiltz.
Yeah, you did ice cream, didn't you?
Yes, we did carnivore ice cream with him. And so that just kind of came along one day. We were just talking while we were making one of our videos. And I was like, wonder if we could get other people to cook with us. And she goes, that's a great idea. Who can we ask? And so we started asking. So we're still doing some on our own, but we're also doing them with other people. And we'd like to maybe do some interviews. And just yesterday, we created a Facebook group, like a strict carnivore space, where people aren't going to be talking about fruits and vegetables and giving that advice. We're not going to allow that. We don't want it to be confusing. There are a lot of other groups out there, and there are a couple of other strict ones, but we felt like there's always room for one more. And we're having a really good time with what we're doing. And we just wanted to be like another safe place for people to come, where people aren't going to recommend seed oils. People aren't going to recommend avocados to get you through a rough day. And people aren't going to, recommend, fruits or honey. Both of us are pretty strict. We don't even use a lot of seasonings, and everybody doesn't have to be that strict. I don't think there's anything wrong with seasonings. And I actually gave up coffee back in March because it smelled and tasted like a rotten skunk carcass somebody had lit on fire. And I had doctored it so much until March, like just to make it taste good. And I was like, it's just not worth it. Plus I heard Dr. Chafee say going that last 5% can make 95% of the difference in being a carnivore. So I gave up coffee. Other people drink coffee. That's fine. You're not going to, no carnivore police are going to come to your house if you drink a cup of coffee. So we love our group though. It's got quite a few members, like 65 members or something, but it's growing, and we are hoping that lots of people will come to it as another safe place to go, where you're not going to have people recommending all of those things that most of us probably wouldn't recommend to people. I mean, I feel like somebody actually asked a question today about fruit, and I just said, I don't recommend it. I feel like if you say, well, having a little bit of fruit every day is the only way I'm going to be able to stay a carnivore, then you're just feeding your sugar addiction, basically. And it'll just keep you wanting more and wanting more. And I didn't really believe people when they said, if you give up all sweet tasting things, you won't crave things anymore. I just thought, yeah, but what's a little bit of sugar-free syrup in my coffee? Man, what a difference it makes to give up everything that tastes sweet.
It's so freeing. That's what I love about it. Is there, I'm not sitting there thinking about my next hit.
Yes.
Like
that's right.
I'm free. Like it doesn't even own me. Like there's a bag of chocolate chips in my refrigerator right now that they're for my son. He sprinkles them on his yogurt. That's his like ice cream.
Yeah.
He sprinkles it on his yogurt, and they're really clean. They have like 3 ingredients. They're
Mm-hmm.
awesome. But like, I look at them and I'm just like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I could eat that and it wouldn't kill
Yep.
me. There's
Right.
nothing really wrong with it, but like, I just don't want it. And before
Right.
I would have eaten the entire bag and then ran to the store and got a whole nother bag.
Yep. To pretend you didn't eat the first bag.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I
And I
know.
would have hid it from everybody in my house.
That's right.
So to have that
Yeah.
freedom is amazing. So how can people get a hold of, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you and to get a hold of this Facebook group, or to just get a front row seat to what you're doing?
Yeah. And I think we should really all call her, like, if I feel like a superhero. I mean,
You
like, you know
are.
what I mean? Like, coming out of what I went through and for so many years, I actually feel like I think we should all feel like superheroes for doing this and sticking with it and being the voice of we should cancel carb addiction. Like, everything else gets canceled. Let's cancel carb addiction, right? I mean, I just think that we should all do our parts and share our stories to other people so that other people can also be superheroes. So you can find me on Instagram at serena.carnivore, serena.carnivore. And then Jess and I have an Instagram page, The Carnivore Revolution, and also on YouTube. And then the new Facebook group is also called Carnivore Revolution. And we want everybody to join. I think there's enough room for all of us. There's enough room for all of the Facebook groups, for all of the Instagram pages that are trying to influence people and help people. There are so many people that need help. We should all always help each other and build each other up and share each other's stories and share each other's social media pages and YouTube pages. I just think there's so much room and so many people need help. The best thing we can do is join in together and just share everything and just be one large voice for people. I just think it's so important that we help as many people as possible.
Absolutely. The need is so great. There is no competition. We could talk all day, every day, and never satiate the need and the demand for helping people break their addiction to sugar and processed foods.
Yeah, that's right. It's everywhere. And I mean, my kids aren't carnivores. They're addicted to sugar and they know it. They know it. And so, I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. We're definitely trying. We have scaled down. It's harder for kids to make that change because it's around them all the time.
Yeah.
But they're doing pretty well. They don't eat it, nearly as much as they used to. And I will always keep, certain meats in the refrigerator that I know that they will eat and ask them to go for that, for a snack and stuff like that. But there's lots of change to be made there. We have lots and lots of needs, and lots of people need us and need to hear our voices. And so I think the more people that are out there sharing, the more people's lives are going to change. And we are saving lives by sharing our stories. I mean, if I can help even one person that struggled with an eating disorder or disordered eating, to the point like I did, if I can help even one person by sharing my story, then I'm going to share it,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story here. You are such a light in this community, and I am just so, so, so grateful for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Emily. And thanks for having me. It was fun.
No problem. So Tom, I would love for you to give us an update on your story, because you're not going to die. I'm so happy.
It's not yet. Before I started, I just want to say to Serena, I did watch your live video with Dr. Chafee cooking the steaks with Jesslyn. That was pretty good. You made me hungry too while I was watching it. Yeah. So thanks a lot.
My favorite part was where her steak was done first and she picked it up with her bare hands and ate it on camera.
I saw that.
That was awesome.
I was very
impressed. Thank you for watching it.
No problem.
That's great. I'll have to go find that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So, last time I told you I had to, my cardiologist called me and said my nuclear stress test was not good, that I probably have blockages, could possibly need bypass surgery, that kind of stuff. So I had the appointment with an intervention cardiologist from University of Maryland. So I had this past Tuesday. So it was a telemedicine appointment. So he gets on there and he goes, first of all, it looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days, but that's typical of a surgeon, I guess. But so he comes out, he starts talking to me about it. And he said that, your nuclear stress test was normal. And I said, what? Because I had my wife on a speakerphone with me, and he says, your test was normal. He said, your heart is beating like it's supposed to. And I was like, what? That's not what my cardiologist said. My cardiologist basically said, yeah.
Opposite of what your cardiologist said. Your
Yeah.
cardiologist said you're going to die.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I had that high calcium, CT calcium score. So he says, yeah, you have high CT calcium score, but the plaque is, you know, it's probably stable if you're not having any of these symptoms. So I don't have the symptoms of somebody that has a block, but I'm still having a angiograph on August 25th. So they're going to go in. He says 10 minutes. I don't want him to rush. I said, don't rush shoving that thing up my artery to my heart, from my leg up to my heart. So what they do is they bring it up there, and then they inject dye to see if there's a blockage. And they're going to figure out what to do at that moment. So if I have one blockage, they may just treat with medicine. If I have two blockages, then I may have to have stents, that kind of stuff. But so I'm still having the procedure to see if there's blockages. But his comment was completely different than, and he even said, your heart was functioning at 50 to 70%, which is normal. And I said, well, she said, your heart's pumping at working at 50 to 70%. That's not normal. I'm like, which one is right? And first of all, I think he's right, because I was already not trusting her, because she said red meat. I had to stop red meat because that's bad for my heart. That causes cardiac or coronary artery disease. And I said, well, doctor, no, it doesn't, but I don't want to get into that right now. So, as I said, the research does not support that. I said the research for that you claim that red meat causes cardio artery disease is actually based on weak evidence, weak research. And so anyways, every doctor, there's so many doctors out there that are not up to date on, you know.
It sounded like they had another agenda already.
And then not only that, I talked to him about the statins. I said, I really don't want to be taking statins. And so it didn't really budge him at all. He didn't say anything, but in his write-up, he said the highest dose of statins I could stand, he recommends me doing.
Awesome.
No, he said that I can stand, which means he wants me to take as high a dose.
Oh.
The opposite. So I was disappointed in that. So I'm going to have the procedure on August 25th. So I still have that appointment in October with that low carb cardiologist that's in Northern Virginia. So I'm keeping that appointment because I'm going to go to him. I'm going to see what he says about this. Is he really a low carb advocate kind of guy? Or because I told this doctor, I said, first of all, I've lost 60 pounds in the last 6 months. I reversed my type 2 diabetes. My blood pressure is 125 over 80. My A1C is 5.7 and dropping. I mean, I probably would have died if I didn't start this in February. I remember I told you how bad I was feeling in January. I thought I was going to die. I probably would have. My body was telling me, you got to do something. And so.
I can't imagine somebody hearing that laundry list of things that happened in the last 6 months and not at least recognize that.
Three pant sizes. Sorry, Serena, I did 3. But I had to actually go buy new clothes. I didn't have any in the closet. So
that's great.
But I am going to go now. I did cancel my visit. I was going to go to Ohio to visit my son, but I canceled it because of this. Now I'm actually going to leave tomorrow. I'm going to go to Ohio, visit him anyways.
Yay! And
then if something happens, it happens. I'm not, it happens. There's nothing I can do about it. But I don't feel like something's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. I mean, it could, but I'm not. Because
you were carrying around a piece of paper in your pocket saying contact in case of emergency.
Wife. Yeah, if you see me laying on the ground, here's a number to call. That I'm actually filling out a spreadsheet with all my particulars, life insurance, all that, because just in case, for my wife, just so left hanging and have to do all the extra work. I'll do all the work for her right now, but. It is. I tell you, I was so stressed just before that call, and he was 10 minutes late, and I'm freaking out. And my wife's she's in Puerto Rico on a business trip, so she's on a second phone, listening in. And I said, I'm really, really stressed out right now. And then he said that, and I'm like, what? First of all, I was relieved, but I was also mad because what the heck? Which one do you believe? Do I need stents and bypass surgery? And did I do poorly on this nuclear stress test, or did I have a normal stress test? One doctor's opinion was different than the other. And
wow.
I still don't think he's low carb advocate, but he didn't say nothing when I said I was low carb. I didn't go into details because if I say I'm eating red meat all the time, then he's going to be going, well, you shouldn't be eating red meat. You should.
Yeah, low carb is a nice, safe, happy place to just, that's all they need to know.
And that was it. Oh, one last funny thing. So yesterday, I took yesterday off from work because when I needed a day off. So I'm out with my wife and we're in the car. I said, oh, I can't, I thought it was Saturday. And for some reason, I'm thinking it's Saturday because we're out, we went to have lunch and we're driving. And so, I gotta join Emily's call. So I literally dialed into the call. I'm driving, I put the Zoom thing in and I'm waiting for you to come on. I said, it's 12 o'clock. She's late. What's going on? And then I go, oh my God, it's Friday.
Oh my gosh.
That was funny. I just wanted to tell you that one. It was kind of funny. But
that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So you were in the Zoom meeting waiting for me, thinking it was
and I was thinking because I know your dad will send a note saying she'll be on in a second or something like that. But there was no note from Larry. So I'm like, and then I realized it was Friday, not, hi, Karen. I realized it was just Friday, not Saturday. And I was, rightly embarrassed.
That's okay. That's okay. You were just chilling in the waiting room by yourself. You didn't embarrass it. You didn't.
I was actually
cause
in
any
the
problem.
car. Yeah, I was like, I wonder if anybody could see me in that waiting room. So you got a message saying there's somebody waiting for you in your tomorrow call. They're already ready.
I probably got an email. Don't worry about it.
You probably did. That was me saying hi.
Okay.
So, and Serena, thank you. I loved your story, and I will be following you.
Awesome.
I already am following you, just so you know. I'm not a creep or anything. I've been following you for at least a week.
That's great.
Since that live you had with Dr. Chafee. So
that's awesome. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for the update. I'm so glad, and I am believing that you are already healing. You've already started this huge shift in everything, and that you're just going to continue to heal more and more. And I can't wait to watch your story. Thank you. So next we have an update, or not even an update, an introduction to the story of Andia. So Andia, come and tell us what your experience has been like.
All right. Well, Serena, I can say right now that I can relate to a ton of your story, and we're the same height too. So it's just was me listening to you today. It's just funny that this is my first meeting back since not being here for a while, just because I was feeling a lot of shame from eating a sad diet because I fell away and now I'm back. But anyway, so I am in recovery 14 years from bulimia and meth use. And jump ahead 14 years later, and during that time I became a alcohol and drug counselor. So that was my way of giving back to the community. And I've been off and on diets my whole entire life, especially when I was still bulimic. And I can just relate to so much of what Serena said about the control piece, and then punishing yourself, and then under eating, and all of that is like, she was like telling my story right there. It was crazy. And so, what I've been thinking about lately, it's been like I've been in a room and I have all the tools in the room, but the lights are off and I can't find what I need. So I'm going to explain that. So there are so many things that, like, I know that, so I have the disease of addiction, and I am totally addicted to sugar, food, all that stuff, right? So around 2018, I started doing, me and my husband started doing the keto diet, and we were feeling really good. I was tracking all my numbers, and then I started a small business on the side of doing counseling as a fiber artist, and that started like taking up a lot of my time. So started not tracking stuff, but I was feeling really good, and I was losing weight, and all the things were happening. So I was like, oh, maybe I don't need to track or whatever. Well, then we moved across the country in 2020, and that is when it really kind of fell away because it was just easier as we were moving to just kind of like eat whatever. And ever since then, I've been like going back on the keto and then trying carnivore and then keto and then carnivore. And I've just been on this like little hilly journey, but every single time I'm down in the valley, it was bad. It was bad. Like, that's how I know I am totally sugar addict and I have to get away from the sweeteners. I 100% agree. And that is why I think it was just so kismet that I found Emily and this group and people who are like-minded, because I know if I continue eating that way, I'm just going to continue not feeling good. So my whole value system was just not lining up with, there was just so much cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And it was driving me crazy. I'm like, why can't I just stay with this? And then it finally clicked when I started going to your meetings, Emily. It's like, so people who are, have addiction, alcohol, drugs, or whatever, they use support groups, right? So, hello, I need community. So that part clicked. And then just last week, for some reason, I'm listening to Emily and Amy in this lovely workshop they did. And Emily said something that, again, like, duh. Like, I have so many coping skills for my addiction that I used, especially in my early recovery. And then I was teaching them as a counselor for the last 4.5 years. It's like, I can totally apply those things to my food addiction. But that was also a way for me, like, I was comforting myself, and I was adapting to changes in my life as I moved and all the things. I'm just really like trying to sum up my story.
No, don't. I mean, this is brilliant. This is brilliant.
Trying to hit on all the highlights of what got me here. But yeah, that is what I'm going to do now. And I'm actually going to make it a priority to track what I'm eating, because I know when I do that, it's like, I love seeing, oh, look at how wonderful I ate today. And I hit all the things and blah, blah, blah. And another thing I've never done was really like the testing. Like, I have the Keto Mojo, it's in the closet, took it out this morning and tried to do it. And like, it gave me like this error message. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even remember how to use this thing. That's how long it has been. Because, when you first start keto, you buy all the things.
Yeah.
So I've had all the tools for a long time. It was just really like this mind shift that had to happen. And it had to happen with all these consequences. Because just the same as somebody who's addicted to substances, and I hope to God that people who listen to this who are addicted to substances can learn from this, because like, that can learn that this is not much different. And when like we keep it's like people who can think that, oh, well, I was using meth or I was using heroin, so I can smoke pot, it's no big deal. You actually keep the addiction alive when you do that. Now, translating that to this food, when we eat the sugar, we keep the addiction alive. It's like, it's just like another form of it, but I believe it is the same. Because if it wasn't the same, I would have been able to, do it easier.
And what I have found is the thing that is the same is that voice of, you are worthless.
Yeah.
You are not in control. You are continuing to fail. So it doesn't matter if I'm shooting up heroin or if I'm drinking coffee and I know that coffee is a problem for me, because personally, coffee is a problem for me. It's not a problem for everybody. I'm not projecting that on anybody at all. But if I know that it's a problem for me and I'm still doing it, that little voice in my head keeps telling me that I'm worthless. And so what's so beautiful about breaking all of these addictions is knowing how worthy I am, how beautiful I am, how like powerful I am. And I had no idea. I thought I was worthless for years until I was able to finally and now whenever something comes up, it'll still pop up its head. I laugh. I'm like, no, I got your number. I got you. You can't have me. And I like what Serena put in the chat. She said, you are an abstainer, not a moderator. And I believe that all addicts are, personally. I know that's me. I can't mess around with it. Like I know that I have to stay away from it.
Yes, 100%. Thank you for saying that. Yes, I have to have abstinence, because when I put chemicals in my body or sugar in my body, I have bad things happen. Like, I will not stop. And it's just the same as if I were to go back and, like, use it, it's just, I know where it will take me. And with the food, I've seen it for the last few years, like I said, up and down journey, but it was just like this war. And I'm hoping like that with all of what I've been through and everything that I have now for tools, especially with the community, going to meetings, that I'm not going to have to, that I have the support, and it's not going to be this anymore. I'm able to just stay steady. As long as I keep talking to other people, watching the things, following people. Serena, I'm going to follow your group. And I follow both of you already. Well, today I followed you, but I was following Jess before. And actually, every single time I come to one of these meetings, I'm looking at everybody's names and I'm like, I gotta go follow them. Yes. Because I want to see that good stuff. That's the beautiful thing, I think, about Instagram. It's bad in a lot of ways, but the good thing is I can follow what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I need to see all of that healthy stuff. And yeah.
And I know
for this.
Yeah.
Group.
And I know that I said this in the workshop, but I think it's so important to say again that little addictive mind doesn't like it when you tell people. It doesn't like it whenever you say things out loud, like, I'm a sugar addict. Because whenever you say it out loud, it puts this spotlight on that addiction, and that addictive mind just like shrivels back up into the shadows. And is like, oh, dang it, Andia's telling people. Crap. Right. I can't.
So the layers of accountability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't like that.
No. And so it's such a simple task to just talk to somebody, to just send Serena a message on Instagram and say, hey, I'm having trouble today. Send me a message, send Tom, you know what I mean? Like, or come to this group and say it out loud to the whole world of YouTube. I'm having trouble in this area, and you will be shocked at how much power you can take back over your addiction whenever you just speak. How free is that? How simple is that? You speak.
I've known forever, but now I get to apply it to this, and that is the aha that I hope helps somebody. I'm so glad you record these, because
I love in the chat, Serena said, it's like going to AA meetings. Let's normalize carnivore sponsors.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I grew up at AA meetings with my mom. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's what we are doing. That's what we are learning here.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Andia, for sharing your story and for being here. I feel so blessed that I get a front row seat to your story, because I know it's going to be epic, because information does not equal transformation. But now that you're in this moment where you already have all of these skills, you've already been equipped with all of these things. Now that you have this key, that you're unlocking this special little spot, boom, the rest is going to be amazing. Like, I cannot wait to watch it.
Yeah. And I want to make a point too, like, that was hard for me to actually be like, because I felt actually shame from knowing all the things, and then I wasn't applying them to this. And it was probably because for, whatever was keeping me comforted, but it was keeping me sick, but it was comforting me. And so then when I actually had this, like, aha moment. It was just like that's literally why I haven't been in the meeting. Like, and I knew that nobody would shame me. I totally knew that, but it was really hard for me. Like, I really wanted to be, you know, having like my momentum.
Yeah. You wanted
you
to
know,
have that be like this like victory story.
yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what I needed.
Well, and
for-
I
for
believe
me.
that that's the lies that the addictive mind tells us is you can't go to that meeting. You know, you haven't accomplished anything, you know, and that's why I love to create safe places. And I love to share this with the world to be able to say, these are real people going through real things. And this isn't this polished, scripted, like we literally talked right when we got into this meeting. Okay, who's going to talk first? Who's going to talk second? Like, well, none of this is scripted. This is just our stories. And just like a regular support group, that you just need to be real and be authentic and to live out loud. And so thank you so much for your transparency and your vulnerability, because I believe that's where your power is.
Thank you so much. And thank you,
Awesome.
everyone. I've been watching you, all the people who come to this meeting, because you all are helping me a little bit every single day. So thank you all.
And I love Andia creates. And so she actually binge watches while she creates some of her art and stuff. So anyway, thank you guys so much. This has been another fantastic Saturday. You are just my favorite people, my favorite humans, and I'm so grateful for you. And I will see you again next Saturday. Thank you. Bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the group. There is always so much beauty in being transparent and in really recognizing that we're all not alone on this journey. And so if you want to, feel free to join the Saturday support groups. They're every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you need more individualized care, then reach out to me and email me at innerclaritysystem@gmail.com. And I would love to walk through and show you what it looks like to work with me one-on-one. All right. Thanks.